Hey guys, how's it going? I'm IAmPattyJack, and I've been playing a bit of Dragon Quest Heroes the last couple days. Got a review code for this one. Kinda like the first high-profile review code I've ever gotten for like a $60, $70 game, so that was kinda nice. I'm probably super biased because of it, but I don't really care. I'm just happy I got to try it. Games like Dragon Quest are, honestly, like, they're things I've always wanted to try, but usually because they're generally pretty expensive and they don't drop in price a whole lot, I never, like, take the dive to go and actually get them because I feel like it's too big of a risk. So being able to get one of these for free and actually play it and try it and figure out for myself, okay, maybe I like this, maybe I don't, you know, that's a bit of a benefit. So I enjoy that aspect of being a YouTuber. That's kind of fun. I think I'm done tooting my own horn now, so let's talk a little bit about Dragon Quest Heroes 2. Now, if you haven't figured it out yet, I don't generally play games like this, so if you're someone who's super into Dragon Quest or Dynasty Warriors, I guess, or other games similar, this is probably not the video for you, because I know very little about the universe, about the gameplay mechanics, about the lore and stuff, but if anyone else who's watching this is in kind of like the same position as me, where they've been interested in these games before, but don't know if they'll like them, then maybe this is the video for you. That's kind of the way I'm looking at it right now. So, Dragon Quest Heroes, I've been playing for about, I think I'm like 5 hours in at this point. This is some pre-recorded footage from pretty early in the game. This is like the first big open area that you get to kind of go into. And so far, I think it's alright. I get the appeal. I get the appeal a lot more than I did before, because I used to look at these and be like, okay, this is like a giant grind fest, and there's not a whole lot going on between the different worlds other than like a palette swap or something, but after playing it, I'm like, okay, I get it now. You know, there's a lot of really cutesy stuff going on, of course, references to the past games. The general combat works pretty well. The game runs well. I haven't had any dips in frame rates or anything, so that's always good, especially for a PC release of a Japanese title, so I quite like that, at least. Yeah, the combat is very grindy, Dynasty Warriors-esque. I've played a little bit of that. This is like the free-roaming mode in it, so you just wander around and attack everything, because everything wants to kill you. I've noticed that, at least in the early parts of the game, the boss monsters will kind of just walk around and not attack you, or not do it very often, so that's not super engaging, but I would imagine later in the game it would probably get insane. So you go through these freeform areas, and then all of a sudden you get thrown into battles, which are very Dynasty Warriors-esque. It's like you have specific objectives to do, and there's like enemies all over your screen, you're completely destroying all of them and everything. And that's pretty fun. I like games like that, you know. I am a fan of games that let you have a big power fantasy. I always said that the Battlefront series, the Star Wars Battlefront series, was more akin to games like Dynasty Warriors in that sense, where, like, you play it single player or split screen, and you just murder everything on the screen. Like, you're the most powerful thing there because you're the only person playing, unless you're online, that has a brain. So, you just kind of, like, mow through droids or rebels or stormtroopers and stuff, and it makes you feel really good. It's a good power fantasy. This is kind of the same thing. It's like, you can just mow through absolutely everything, and then go into battles where you fight, like, a big boss monster, get an achievement, or whatever. And I appreciate that. I like it. I don't think it's something that I'm gonna get super invested into. I think that I came into it a bit too late, and I'd have to have, like, played at least 2 or 3 of the other games before I'd be like, oh, I love these characters and stuff. So I'm not quite there yet. I do like the characters, though. I love all the designs in it. I didn't know that Akira Toriyama worked on a bunch of them, and I'm a huge Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z fan, so that's really cool. A lot of the designs do look very old-school Dragon Ball-esque, and to me, that's really cool. I'm super into that, so that's a big plus for me, and that's honestly kept me playing the game a lot longer than I thought I would. I was kind of like leveling up my characters here. I don't like the leveling system in this game, and it's not even necessarily because it's like a bad leveling system. it does that very old school Japanese, like, early 2000s style thing where it has more text boxes than it needs to have. You know, like, when you're leveling up, you saw it right there. Instead of being like, okay, go to the skills system and then click what you want to level up, it's like, go to the skill system, and it tells you, hey, now you're in the skill system. And then it says, this is where you level up stuff. It's like, okay, that's cool. And then you go to level something up. It says, are you sure you want to level this up? And you're like, yes, I do. It defaults to no, so you got to move the stick up to go to yes. Then you level it up, and then it says, you just leveled up this. And it's like, yeah, I know I did. You don't need to tell me that every time, because you have to, like, hit a button to get through those text boxes, and they pop up every single time. It's unneeded. They're unneeded text boxes, and it makes leveling up and navigating menus in this game a little bit annoying. So that's something that I'm not too keen on. It's kind of nitpicky, but it is that old school UI decision that probably doesn't have a place in video games after, like, 2005. So that's kind of an annoyance, but getting off of that, I do like the characters in the game. They have lots of personality and stuff. I was playing with the English voice acting, and my god, it is the worst. Like, it's competently voice acted, but it sounds like they got voice actors whose only experience was, like, working on a CW show or something like that. Like, they worked on the 100, and that's their acting jobs. That's what I got from it, at least. The English voice acting is very... They didn't put a lot of focus in it. Let's put it that way. It's kind of comical, though. It has a certain charm to it, and I'm not really that big of a stickler for it, because, of course, the gameplay is what matters, and the gameplay overall is pretty fun. It's a little simplistic so far. Like, you get your light attack and your heavy attack. Granted, I'm playing in the simplistic mode, too, so that could definitely have an impact on it, but so far, it does feel very... Yeah, I will go as far to say simple, but there are some nice little things in it where you pick up tokens and stuff. I didn't do that in this gameplay. I got to that later on, and you start picking up these tokens that let you turn into the monsters that you fight. So you can, like, turn into the boss monsters and have their attacks, and summon other monsters to aid you in battle and stuff. That's pretty cool. I like those mechanics and everything. And one would assume there's a bunch of upgrades that you're seeing on your screen right now. You know, there's probably some really cool stuff in there. Hopefully it's not all just passive upgrades, but, you know. You upgrade a lot in the early part of the game, by the way. Like, every 2 minutes someone levels up, and you have to go and level them up and stuff, and that's a little bit annoying, because again, I have to go through all these extra boxes that I don't feel like should be there and things like that. But, you know, if that's my biggest complaint about it, I think it can't be so bad, right? The other thing I'm not too big on is the graphical fidelity. Like, it looks fine up close, but you definitely see a lot of pop-in, like, as you're moving forward with, like, textures and stuff. Like, even the ground, after, like, 10 feet, it'll look super muddy and blurry. And I have everything set on max settings, and it runs fine, but the detail... anything other than close range is pretty lacking, and I feel like that's probably because it has to go on Nintendo Switch as well, and that console just isn't super powerful, like Nintendo consoles usually aren't, and that's fine, because they still play games good, but, you know, I feel like if you put a game on PC, there is that higher expectation. And no, it doesn't affect the gameplay in any way, but, you know, it's something I notice because I play primarily on PC, and I just notice these things because I look for them. So, you know, that's a thing. I think I'm looking forward to playing this when I have, like, nothing else to do for an evening, because it's got that old school Nintendo charm that I did like when I was a kid, but I never really got to play because I never had any Nintendo systems apart from a Wii, and I sold my Wii when I got the new Destroy All Humans game for that, and it sucked. So I got super angry and sold it. I think I got like 11 different PlayStation games instead. So that was kind of nice, but I never really did play a lot of Nintendo products, and this game feels very Nintendo. Obviously not from Nintendo itself, but it kind of has like that same feel to it, you know, like the the UI, the storylines, the characters, the sound design and stuff, it does feel very Zelda-ish to me. And that's because I'm on, like, the outskirts of Nintendo fans and things. I never had the opportunity, so when I play something like this, I'm like, oh, this reminds me of when I was a really little kid, and I would go over to my neighbor's house, and they'd have, like, a Nintendo 64 or something, because I wasn't allowed to have video games when I was that young. So, it's kind of like a nostalgia thing for me, more than anything. I feel like I could only play this game once a week. Otherwise, I get bored of it, because it is very grindy. You see a lot of the same enemies in different places and stuff, but I mean, that's fine. That's not necessarily a bad thing. It just means I have to pace myself. If it's between this and the Expeditions Viking game that I've been playing, it's like an RPG with Vikings and stuff, it's like supposed to be historical, I think I would spend more time playing that one instead of Dragon Quest, but I mean, that's just because I'm more accustomed to Western RPGs, and I like my old Baldur's Gate style games and things. This is fine, though. It's harmless. I think the characters can get a little bit on the annoying side. I don't know if that's because of the English voice acting, or if it's because of, like, maybe the characters are just very more Japanese, and I'm not used to that as much, because I'm not super into these games, and I don't watch a whole lot of animes other than Dragon Ball or Attack on Titan. I saw One Punch Man for the first time the other week, and that was really good. I enjoyed that. That was all the right types of weird insanity and flipping everything on its head, so, you know. See, I'm not used to characters dancing as a negative effect in a game. That's a very foreign thing to me. I like it, though. It's got a nice little sense of humor to it. Yeah, overall, Dragon Quest Heroes 2, okay so far. I'll play it a little bit more. I think that if you have been looking into games like this and you're not sure if you'll enjoy them, definitely try to get one that's, like, cheaper, because if you spend $70 on this one and then only play it for 5 hours, like, obviously that's not really going to be your money's worth. And these games really are meant to be played for, one would assume, hundreds of hours, get all the achievements, that sort of thing. So, if you can, I'd find one on sale. But if you're super into Dragon Quest and you've somehow stuck through this entire video of me rambling about Japanese stuff, then you've probably already got it, and you probably have a completely different opinion than I do, so maybe you'll like it. I don't know. It's aight. I'm gonna give it a thumb up and a half. That's my official scoring system, in case anyone forgot. I kind of forgot, so I wouldn't blame you if you did as well. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, give it a thumbs up with the official upvoting system. that was stupid. Don't upvote for that. Upvote for my amazing content and stuff, not my terrible jokes and attempts at humor. I am PattyJack. I'll see you next time. Have a wonderful day.